4:35. This is My Hometown with me, Jim Turner, from the MyHometownFL.com studios. We have Sara from Mohsin Mortgage here. Sara, I am murdering the name of your company,
No,
so
you're not.
Please forgive me.
Not at all. Not at all.
How can somebody live like a money expert?
Well, I think that one of the big things is not to take it too seriously because of the fact that you just want to know where your financial household is and where your money is going. Typically, Jim, what we see is 80% of us have credit card debt. So a large amount of our household income is going towards even minimum payments, towards credit card debt, which is close to $10,000, anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000. So the goal is to see where you're spending your money and to make the adjustments that are necessary. And that's why I say to folks on our show is to give us a call always and to ask the question, and we can help you find the tools and resources to make sure that not all of your household income is going into high interest rate debt. That's the number one thing. And, of course, reducing that mortgage payment because, we're always looking at the price of milk and eggs. We go to the grocery store. We get excited about getting that 20 cents off on a product, but we never really pay attention to our biggest bill, which is our mortgage. And it is good debt. It's not bad debt. So if you really want to focus on adjusting where your finances are and reaching those goals, the number one thing is to refinance and get that interest rate down and save that $300 to $400 a month.
I have to throw this in because there's a lot of misinformation out there regarding money. We have a large Christian audience here, and let me point out that there is nothing unchristian about borrowing money and using money properly.
Right.
The Bible does not say don't borrow money. I don't care who says it does. It doesn't say that. And many times money can be used, as you've described, as a tool. And we also talked earlier, you were reading my mind, about how to remove worry from your life.
Right.
And you've just described how.
Right. I think that relationships break down when there are money issues, friendships break, and a big part of the conversation is to eradicate ourselves from that type of anxiety. I had a really good friend of mine, Jim, on the air, and she had said some things that surprised me when we worked with her on her loan, and she was in a place of darkness, and she really wanted to be able to give more to the church, that 10% that we all want to and follow through with. But in her situation, the dynamics of her loan were very simple, just reducing the rate, taking some equity out of the property. And for her, what she was now able to do was to renovate her home, give back to the community, to the church. And these were all very important things in her life. And therefore, I say to folks, when you're looking at your finances and when you're working with us here at Mohsin, what we do is we are making sure that all of your personal matters are taken care of because this is a very private, personal matter, and it will reap long-term benefits. One being that, you are able to live a full life and plan out your future with options. And often enough, when you're in debt, those options are limited. In fact, you really have no options. And having credit card debt, one of the big things that we do is we can work with you, pick and choose the credit cards, refinance you, reduce the interest rate on your mortgage. You're going to pretty much look at an $800-900 difference in your payments. Not
to mention the big difference in less worry you will have on a daily basis or a monthly basis.
It is. It's a big difference. Jim, I have to say that for me, I love what I do. I'm very passionate about it. I enjoy it. That's why I always tell our listeners on our stations here in Orlando and Salem, Boston, and San Diego to call me in the evenings or on the weekends because I've learned such a great deal from them. And I say this again because one day I was sitting in the car and it just came to me, and it's true. It was just an amazing thing that my faith has really been a compass and has led me to some amazing people and places. And I've felt that I've learned such a great deal from our listeners, from the questions that they've asked, and they've inspired me to do as much work and research as possible to get them the information that they need.
San Diego, what a fantastic place that is.
Yes, San Diego is a beautiful place. But I'll say one thing, and it's consistent with all the Salem stations that we work with. The people are absolutely fantastic. I've never worked with such a great, you included, terrific group of people, good hearts, and hardworking.
Now, Sarah, are there some myths that people have about medical bills?
There are myths because of the fact that sometimes you may feel that a medical bill will not be reported on your credit card or may not be a judgment. A judgment meaning that it may hold you against being able to refinance on your property. There may be a lien against it. So medical bills do drop your credit score sometimes by 50 points, 100 points, and they do affect your scores as well as stay on your credit report. But with any lien or judgment, or anything for that matter, I've said, in life, nothing is permanent. So I always say have hope and ask the question and get in touch with us here at Mohsin Mortgage. And we're on with WTLN as well here in Orlando at 3:58 p.m. So I do say that if they even call us at our number after this interview, this conversation we've had, they can call us at 1-800-662-9550 to continue on that conversation.
When somebody is going to go into a merger such as becoming husband and wife,
yes,
oftentimes they talk about, well, we're going to live here and so on and so forth. But I believe that in the past you said that one of the big subjects that need to be discussed is money.
I think so, because I think that one of the biggest things that we tend to not really go into and discuss because it's sensitive and personal is our finances. And I grew up in a household where my father was a spender, my mother was a saver, and those things do impact you as a child to see the differences in the household dynamics. When you're getting married, you don't want to be in sort of that situation where you jump in without at least sitting down and seeing where your finances are. It does create certain issues long term because of the fact that if you have combined incomes and you are jointly filing taxes and there's liens and judgments, now you both are going to be held liable for those items. So it's good to have that conversation, be transparent, and make it something that is a constant part of your life, because I meet a lot of great people, and I'll tell you what, Jim, the worst thing is hearing from a couple that may have been married for 50 years and the spouse may have passed away and they've never discussed their finances, and now either husband or wife is unaware of where their finances are, what is owed, and what they actually have set aside for retirement.
Yeah, I remember a guy that I knew, his wife died unexpectedly, and he had no clue of who you pay, who pays, where you go to pay these things. Absolutely no clue, because all he did was bring home the money, and she was the bookkeeper, and he openly admitted that she's better at it than he is, so he just went ahead and let her do it.
I think that it's a great way to say, well, one person's better at it, therefore I should just not participate. But it is certainly a situation that we have to face in life, that, one of us is going to pass away before the other, and therefore it's important to know your finances, your retirement funds, and what you owe, because of the fact that you both are legally bound to it. And I always say be transparent, because when it comes to debt, and if you're co-signing on items, you both are going to be held responsible. So if one person is delinquent, let's say it's a car loan, then the other person's credit report gets hurt by it as well. So that's a scary thing.
I think you said something that has been proven to be untrue, Sarah. I need to correct you.
Okay, correct me.
Because there was a female attorney on another radio station in this area who said, quote, "If I should happen to pass away," I guess that means that not all of us are going to pass away?
I mean, I'm not going to argue with an attorney. So I should say that the big part of when I look at the differences on finances really is that if you're not transparent, then you're going to continue having discussions, and sometimes we would call them arguments with your spouse about it. And I think that when you can meet in the middle, whether you're holding, two separate accounts and maybe one joint account, at least that way you're not going to be having the same conversations and arguing the point about who's the spender and who's the saver. Life is long. We want to make sure that we save, that we're making the best decisions, the right decisions that are going to save you as much as possible. And in today's market, with our wholesale rates, I have to say the biggest savings and the biggest return on investment is refinancing on your property. and getting rates in the threes, or even getting a second home, an investment property, because home prices are still very reasonable, and you can still see a huge ROI, return on investment, in the next 5 years.
In relation to what you talked about the husband and wife and discussing financial matters, why not make it a point to have a financial meeting once a week?
I think that's a great idea. I truly believe that it's a good thing. You can even make it into a date, make it not something that you're going to be anxious about, and that way you're both on point about where your budget is and put that money away. And even a lot of folks don't realize that their HR, their human resources folks, are and can be very helpful in regards to whether they have a 401k and it's matching in funds. And if you have matching funds where the place of work is going to give you, let's say, $1 or 50 cents on every dollar that you put in, that's free money. So that's why I also say to folks, if you're looking to even take equity out of your property, far better to do it now. As Warren Buffett says, money is cheap right now. It's almost borrowing money for free if you're taking equity out of your property and refinancing with us here at Mohsin for rates in the threes.
Okay, Sara, we're about to run out of time here, but I wanted to give you the opportunity once again to tell our listeners about you and about how they can get a hold of you.
Thanks, Jim. Firstly, I want to thank you, Jim, for having me on the air. It was really a great experience. And I want folks to just, when they have time, to give us a call at Mohsin Mortgage. The number is 1-800-662-9550. The goal is just to really have that conversation with you to see where we can get you to the point where you feel financially secure and get you down to the rates of the threes that you can obviously get, whether it's a 10, 15, or a 20-year term or even a 30-year term on that mortgage. Remember, at the end of the day, if you can save $300 to $400 a month, it's worth that call, and it's worth asking the question. So you can ask for Sara, you can ask for me, and you can call me here at 1-800-662-9550.
And my friends, you've noticed how easy it is to speak with Sara, and I'm sure that when she talks to you, it'll be just as easy and very profitable and wonderful experience to be able to talk with her. Sara, thank you. We look forward to the opportunity to get you on again.
Thanks so much. God bless you.
Thank you. Be safe.